Better Call Saul.
Hey, what's up? What's up, everybody? I'm here with another Better Call Saul YapZ with Adrian Diviflyy here, the developer behind Empire Builder. Adrian, how you doing today?
Excellent. Great to be here.
Yeah, I know we were mentioning the last few times we've met. It's actually been on holidays and at weird times. So I'm excited to chat with you today, to chat a little bit more about Empire Builder. And would love to just start with a little bit more of your background if you want to share more about yourself.
Yeah, I've been playing this crypto game for a long time now. Way back to like 2013. I remember I was mining Dogecoin on my old like Lenovo ThinkPad laptop, mined a whole bunch of Doge, sold it all for like, I think I mined like maybe 2 million Doge, sold it all for like a couple of grand thinking I'm a genius. And then, yeah, obviously that wasn't such a genius move in hindsight, but I don't know, you live and you learn. Then yeah, invested a bit of money into it, and then it all went down. Invested into not Bitcoin, but every other shitcoin that there was, that all crashed. Fell out of love with crypto after that. Got back into it in 2017 with the ICO boom and everything. All my mates were like asking me questions like, how do you set up a wallet? How do you do this? How do you do that? Because I was the only guy that knew anything. So I realized like, all right, I might as well lean into this a bit, sort of make a career out of it. Ended up, it took about until 2020, I was doing some different courses. I moved to Europe and I managed to get a job at a crypto mining company, just doing content writing. That's my main job as a content writer, just for marketing and stuff. I'm doing it right now. Yeah, been at a few different companies, been at Scroll, been at Rootstock, Cake DeFi, also in the interview process with another company right now, another big company, but I won't mention exactly who that is. So just in case it doesn't work out. But yeah, you'll see if it does work out on my socials.
Well, that's super exciting. That's definitely a long list in crypto, and definitely like different eras of crypto and understanding that. I mean, I came in 2023 and there were already L2s on ETH. And some of the people in 2021 were like, oh man, you had it easy. So it's like, that different eras of generations definitely can speak to the different like time periods, whether you look at like regulatory challenges internationally throughout, till where we are today, where you still have challenges with that. And then also just like the history of, Bitcoin, everything else kind of that's out there, and different philosophies around that. So I would love to get your take and spin on like that, then the NFT boom, what kind of what led you to Empire Builder and building on top of Clanker, and yeah, just excited to hear more about that.
Yeah. Speaking on that, like the regulatory changes, when I started, it was like wild west. I was buying crypto off of some guy on Reddit and just PayPaling him. And I signed up for a Coinbase account. All you needed was an email address. Like I just made a fake email address and that was it. And I got in and could buy Bitcoin. So that was the way it was back then. But yeah, obviously much different now. But yeah, and speaking of like, difference even just between 2021 and 2022, I remember on ETH, if you wanted to buy an NFT, you'd have to pay like $10, $20 worth in gas, right? Like that's how it was back then. It was just mental. And it was just, it was sort of like, is it worth it? Like, is it worth that $10 in gas? You just had to really analyze like your profit and loss like potential, because like, every little transaction you did was going to be costing you like $10 to $20. It was something else. But I guess what led me to building Empire, I'm a self-taught dev. So when I got into the crypto game in 2020, I was, the only writer in my team. So they were like, oh, you're the writer. Why don't you write this technical documentation? Why don't you write this paper? Why don't you do this? And I'm just like, I had no idea like about any of this, right? So I like started learning myself how to, a little bit of Solidity, JavaScript, etc. And yeah, obviously when like AI came in, ChatGPT and Claude now, it's just like hypercharged the capacity of like what you're able to do as well, and how fast you can iterate on such things, rather than taking like, 6 months to try and build out like a little basic script. You can now just do that in like a day. So yeah, it's much different now. But yeah, sort of what led me down this path is I was involved in multiple different crypto communities and such. I got started speaking to Nick Sapinero, Nicky Sap. He's the guy behind multiple different things on Farcaster. He was the guy that did Circus, that got a bit of hype a little while ago. And yeah, he was sort of just starting out and discovering Farcaster, and I was like, yeah, I just discovered it too. Like, why don't we like sort of try and build something out? He like was starting a little project on here, so I helped him out with it. Built some old frame V1s, original frames, like as a bit of a marketing thing back then, and that was like start of 2024, and it was just Farcaster Frenzy back then. People were that was when degen was sort of at its peak, right? So yeah, anything you sort of built and like just offered like some NFT, like people were jumping all over it. So yeah, that was really fun. Sort of how I built, I guess, my initial following on Farcaster. That sort of evolved and then devolved into other different things. We sort of moved on to different projects. Then Clanker came out. Clanker dropped, and as soon as Clanker dropped, I realized like the potential there, right? And spoke with it was Proxy back then who was leading it, right? So jumped on a call with him like literally a week after Clanker launched. It was crazy how responsive him and Jack have been. Like there's been a lot of different builders or like people that I've tried to like contact on Farcaster, and you just hear no response from them, right? Like they're like very they're too busy to like hear from the little guy, and like probably get like a million messages from spammers as well, so it's understandable. But the Clanker team was like super responsive, super open. I think because I already they already followed me, Jack and Proxy, so they maybe knew. That was like, I guess, a point of difference. So I jumped on a call with them, like had an idea for like a little bot that instead of just launching tokens, it would like just analyze your profile and create a token based on that, which is actually something I had created beforehand as a frame V1. It was called Scene Coin. It got like zero traction. But it was essentially the same concept as Clanker, like in-feed token creation. And it was basically like if it took off, it was like basically one iteration away from essentially being Clanker. So I like to tell Jack that I invented Clanker before Clanker, but yeah, obviously not with the same clout behind it. And yeah, so I created ClankyBot, Clanker. He's still around, still going strong. Well, he's on his downtime at the moment as we do some upgrades to him, but he's that was the very first actual Clanker interface, like post Clanker launch. It was like the first thing built on top of Clanker, because it took me like maybe 3 days to write this little bot out, right? It was very simple, especially because I had all the code ready from my previous project, right? So yeah, got that out. Like had quite a bit of success at the start. People were tagging Clanker and like creating like silly little tokens. And then from that, I spoke with Jordan, who Berserker. He I worked with him in the past on a few different things as well. I created when Moxie was at its peak, I worked with Jason to create a little election frame. I don't know if you remember that, like when the election was happening in 2024 now. I created a little election frame, and that made like $3,000 worth of Moxie from that, which was nice. But unfortunately, I held on to it, and now it's worth like so,
it happens, right?
Exactly. But yeah, it got me a lot of attention at least. I worked with him through that and different projects there. And he's like, well, and we were just spitballing ideas. It's like, why don't we like create the interface? Everyone's getting a token now. But the thing with tokens is like you create a token, then what, right? Then what do you do, right? And there was no infrastructure or anything, and people were like creating their own solutions. Like I remember Big Degen Energy, BDE, he created his Clanker V4 and was like rewarding the community, but he was just doing it through his own airdrop scripts that he was creating himself. I'm like, people shouldn't have to be able to create their own scripts just to like reward their community and do stuff. So we decided like, let's build out something to allow like a all-in-one interface, and that was sort of the initial goal, just like a basic interface with a treasury, a leaderboard of holders, and then you can just like airdrop NFTs and distribute from the treasury to those holders as you please. Started out a simple idea. By the time we actually launched, it became a lot more complex. We introduced the booster system. And so it's not directly tied to just holding the token. You also need to actually be sort of more engaged with different parts of that creator ecosystem with the boosters. And I guess that's it. And obviously we also introduced like that you could launch a token through Clanker directly through our interface as well. Because like the Clanker SDK hadn't come out then, but we got some endpoints from Jack that he would allow that. And now we're just using the Clanker SDK. But I guess, in terms of like the future direction of Empire, we're currently like working towards Empire V3, which when we're starting out, the idea was to build these solutions ourselves, the contracts ourselves and the airdrop contracts, anything we need. We kept it relatively simple because we thought there'd just need to be relatively simple contracts, right? And we built them simple, we built them secure. But now as the vision grows, we realize we want to make it a bit more complicated, a bit more features in them, make them multi-chain, and that introduces more complexity, which introduces more security concerns, which all need to be addressed. And sort of the best way to sort of resolve all of that is to use infrastructure that already exists. A lot of the infrastructure is out there, so what we're going to be doing for our treasury contracts is we're going to be using the existing splits teams contracts, their newest contracts that are very advanced, fully audited. So we're going to introduce those as our main treasury contracts. We're looking into introducing staking as well. Again, building out our own staking contracts takes time, security concerns. We're looking at a few different options there. Most likely for now, we're looking at Mint Club and their staking and lockup contracts to utilize those. Introducing potentially Mint Club's airdrop contracts as well, although we may stick with our own there too. Also, we're going to introduce DAO features eventually down the line. Let's not put any timeline on that because Clanker has inbuilt DAO functionality. Every Clanker token has an inbuilt like voting and delegation mechanism. And sort of the idea is to like create a functionality where you can use that voting mechanism to then vote on Empire actions like distributions from the treasury, adding boosters, creating new leaderboards, etc. So have some sort of DAO functionality in there to actually almost like so the creator could like just like step back, make the DAO the guardian of the Empire and have a completely decentralized process for all reward mechanisms. So that's the ultimate goal, I guess, in the short to midterm for Empire Builder. Once we get, so V3 will come before that. V3 will be the introduction of the treasuries as well as like many aesthetic features, especially on the homepage. We want to surface, I know you've been doing a lot of distributions recently, regular distributions, which is exactly what we want to promote. So we're going to try and surface that. So all recent distributions, all recent actions being taken on Empire will be on the homepage and surfaced and have like a feed of that, as well as the main leaderboard will be like much more robust with a lot more information rather than just having this scrolling thing going across and you need to see where you rank. It will be like a proper ranking system. And potentially, again, no promises, like we're looking into options to like actually reward those top or the top forged empires that are on that leaderboard to like further incentivize, you know, participation and trying to climb that leaderboard as well, or the main rankings. Main lead empire rankings, right? We want to call it rankings because leaderboards are like for the individual empires and the overall
There you
ranking.
go. Yeah, the branding definitely helps. And yeah, no, that's awesome. That sounds really exciting. A lot of different things to pull at there, but I'm gonna go back to where you were saying that that you held on to the Moxie token, but built social capital. So I really like that like concept. That's what got me really excited about crypto as a whole and what quote unquote Web3, right? And just being in this emerging tech space was the ability to essentially create social capital by whatever it is, using your actual capital to buy an NFT, putting in work on a project, and like how can you then value those actions? So our DAO meets weekly and kind of shares about what we're doing, and then we reach consensus on who's done the most through who's done, you know, the sixth most, and everyone gets a portion of governance by participating that way. And we're like looking at that social capital as a piece that of success that I've seen in DAOs, as opposed to when people tie financial capital to governance and you have different challenges that kind of arise with that. So I really like the concept of like really locking more in on these like off-chain leaderboard points that are there, and then being able to tie them and associate them to some social capital, because it's not just you know, a financial amount. You're actually adding social features to the functionality of just having, you know, a 0x wallet address as your information.
Yeah, exactly. We're also looking in terms of like adding more custom leaderboards that focus more on that through Quotient and just Nana and Farcaster, and potentially multiple other features as well as like adding in competitions. We looked at like things like joke race and other things to add like not so much competitions, but like, you know, you can create competitions saying like, you know, whoever shares the most or does these certain social actions you know, will be surfaced, right, as, you know, being being on this leaderboard rather than just holding an NFT, etc. And then you need, it's just like to remove those extra layers. Like having an NFT leaderboard works, and you can say, okay, everyone who does this, I will give the NFT to, right? And then it sort of by proxy shows that social capital just by who's holding the NFT. But let's like skip the middle step and try and just do it directly, right? But yeah, again, further down the line, new iterations, like we need to make sure that they're all functioning properly, right? And biggest focus right now, just getting V3 up and then going from there, right? So
do you want to chat a little bit more about the forged empires here? And then I know you actually mentioned the forged empires, but the using an existing token as well, because I know that's a really interesting feature that Empire is built.
So we obviously can just create a new token, and that will automatically be a forged empire. You can then, if you have an existing token, a Clanker token or a Zora token will sort of be surfaced automatically when you go into the interface. But you can add any token from base whatsoever, as long as you're either the like owner of that contract or one of the top 5 holders, to allow for sort of community takeover tokens as well. But we're actually looking at as well potentially going tokenless. Like once V3 comes in, it will be possible to like create an empire and get access to the tool stack without needing a token attached to it as well. And we'll be looking at doing some sort of subscription model as well to allow for those empires to sort of upgrade to Forge, since they don't have a token to like to actually be attached. Like there'll be some sort of subscription model to allow them to sort of upgrade their empires to Forge if they prefer not to have a token. Because we've had a couple of people request that as well. They'll love to have access, but they don't want to attach a token. They're like heavily involved in other community or degen community, but they want to distribute rewards to certain degen actions. But yeah, they want to do it to degen, not to their own token, right? So yeah, that's another thing we'll be looking at. And as I said, like we're looking at many more ways. Like as I said, like with the subscription model, it will likely be more for non-current forged empires to like sort of upgrade to forged and get those benefits. Once V3 comes in as well, there will no longer be any sort of restrictions like from the back end that we would have on sort of leaderboard numbers. Like right now it's capped to 250 per leaderboard. It's also capped to a certain amount of boosters, certain amount of custom leaderboards that you can have overall. What we'll be doing once V3 comes out is for forged empires, they'll be allowed to have a lot more leaderboard numbers, a lot more boosters, potentially. Yeah, don't want to again make any promises on like the caps, because we need to like make sure that we don't overdo it and end up having a massive bill at the end of the month because someone's decided to add a 1 million leaderboard or something. Right, so so stuff like this. And again, looking at all the ways we can reward actual forged empires that have come through us. And also, if you do have a token, we also have the migration tool. So you can migrate to Clanker V4 tech token, so you can upgrade any old tokens to like the newest token tech, and that will also be a forged empire. I think you might need to go home. Yeah, and there you go. There's the migration tool. So enter any address of a token. If you're the owner or creator of that token, it will recognize, allow you to go to the next step. It will fetch all the holders. You sort of put in some parameters. What do you want the ratio of the migration to be? 1-to-1, 1-to-0.5, etc., 1-to-2. And then it will automatically fetch the holders of that token. So yeah, minimum token amount to qualify, for example, 1. There you go. And then it fetches the holders, and that's going to be the recipients of the airdrop. You can also add extra addresses if you want. And then what it will ask you to do is to do an optional swap, essentially just to provide initial liquidity to that pool, if that makes sense. And once you do the swap, we've got the minimum creator buy in there just because we're in beta mode with this as well still. So we don't want to like shoot ourselves in the foot, but that will be removed eventually, that minimum creator buy requirement, because we didn't want people to just do no creator buy and then ask, why has my token dropped to 0? Because it's because they had no liquidity in the pool, right? So that's it. We'll eventually be making iterations to allow for a bit more flexibility there as well. But yeah, and you don't need to do the swap. You can just go, and if you already have a bit of ETH, 0.2 ETH or whatever it was there, you can just use whatever capital you already have, right? Without having to sell the current token. Although it is encouraged to sell the token to pull the liquidity out of that. Otherwise, people will try and game your migration.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, let's chat about some of the features that are there right now. Some of the things that if you have an empire, you can do, and we'll give a live demo of some of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to see like what your sort of go to and like how you interact with empire.
So my go-to is I like playing around with the different leaderboards. I actually have tried almost all of them. I haven't done the NFT one yet, but I made this Zaal voting mini app leaderboard as an API leaderboard as I was vibe coding my mini app that people can vote on, so that we can essentially leverage Empire Builder as a way to reward people for participating in the mini app, especially if there's boosters for doing different things daily. I'm a big fan of the Farcaster only one, because there's, and then I'm a big fan of doing 10 either in raffle mode is usually a good go-to. And we'll do like, you know, between $5 to $10. And yeah, I like to do random to 10. That's a nice one. I think there are 120 something. So we'll do out of the top 100, 10 random people will each get 50 cents.
Yeah, on the token leaderboard, or do you switch it to the Farcaster?
Thank you. Yeah, I meant to do it on the Farcaster, but I totally forgot. So
no,
that is that I think should be the home one. It might be one of my suggestions because I have done that before.
Yeah, it should, like based on the leaderboard you're currently clicked on, it should populate it with that. But the thing is, when you have it pinned, I think it like might get mixed up.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. So yeah, no, I like to do the raffle so we can rock it out here. I don't know. I don't think it's sharing my my wallet, but I'm signing a transaction here, which is fun. Also seeing that every single thing is actually an on-chain transaction, which sometimes makes me like double check what I'm gonna do. But the reason I do 10 is because on Farcaster, it'll share 10 ads, but no more than that. So I like to do the 10.
Yeah, I mean, you can always like sort of copy paste into the comments, but yeah, it's like it becomes a bit of a process. Exactly.
Yeah, that might be something we recommend Rish to fix. I think that's one of my problems with Farcaster right now. But nonetheless, I really like the ability to be able to say, okay, so that's how many people I want to share to, and like each one of these people, I'm relatively close with in some capacity that might not know about the Zaal because we're leveraging other tools to tip out some Zaal to different people, et cetera, et cetera. So I've been really enjoying the raffle because it actually populates people that I am not seeing regularly. And then I've also, for our other leaderboards that are finished, that we don't necessarily need an API for, Song Jam Season 1 was December. And I, at any point that I want to do a distribution to different seasons, or maybe I'll add all of them together at the end as well and create a leaderboard for that. I can, at the beginning of this season, because the first season was for the Zaal airdrop and the second season, episode 1, the airdrop was already set up. I just manually dropped a little bit of what was in the treasury to everyone in the Song Jam Season 2 of Zaal, which was really nice because I could use the weighted by score mechanism so that, that those individuals that, let's say I did like $20, $25. I don't know what it was off the top of my head. We can probably go back and look. Then it actually is giving it to the people that participated the most. But I can kind of do that whenever I want if we have different capacities of doing it. And I'm just really excited to play around with the API leaderboards a little bit more.
So the API leaderboards, like when you click update, it should refetch from that API. So if like there's been more people participating, it will actually fetch the new numbers. It's not like just a one-time API. It like fetches the endpoint every time. You can actually check if you go up and click on the distribute at the top. Oh, or distributed. Sorry.
Yeah.
Further up, like the actual distributed.
Oh, yes, it gives you that list, right?
So if you do like accidentally click out without sharing, you can just go here and share from here as well. We'll be updating it in the future as well to show which leaderboard and have a bit more information there too.
Awesome. No, it looks really cool. And then just like the feature of being able to burn a portion of your tokens and then also kind of pull all of the burns in one place so you can actually see that culmination of them, as well as the embed, when you share to Farcaster is there as well and updated, which is really awesome.
It should
all
also
those fun little things.
Actual token as well. Like Farcaster allows that. We will also be updating the burn functionality because when we started out, it was the old Clanker versions, a lot of old tokens. So it used to just be that you had to send it to the burn address. But with the new Clankers, it is possible to actually burn directly with the token. With V3 and V4, I think when we started out, it was like just finished V1. So yeah, I think they were just switching from V1 to V2 when we started out. So yeah, we'll be updating the burn functionality with, again, V3 contracts that will allow us to actually burn the tokens directly. So on base scan, it will actually reduce the circulating supply overall completely. But ultimately, like, most scanners pick up from the dead address. Like if you go onto Gecko Terminal or CoinGecko and etc., they will recognize that you've reduced the supply by sending it to the dead address. It's just on the actual blockchain you also see it as well.
Interesting. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, is there any kind of last words you want to share, places people can find you, when you're not, in your hidey hole coding away?
Yeah, I'm always like hiding away. I need to start casting and posting a bit more. I've just been like, under the pump doing stuff, and I'm like, I haven't mentioned anything on Farcaster in like a week and a half. But yeah, follow me, Diviflyy, on Farcaster. Same on Twitter. Bit less of a following there. Need to build that up still. We also have a Discord, Empire Builder Discord. It's on homepage. You should be able to find the link there. But yeah, most of the action happens on Farcaster. So that's the main place. Follow me, follow YapZ. He's the most far more active than me in terms of casting there. Yeah, what else was I going to mention? I guess one more thing I didn't mention is we are going to look into allowing, with this whole autonomous agent fad that's going on, we're going to try and we are planning to, we need to focus on V3 first. I'll keep saying that. But once it happens, we're going to look into allowing or enabling autonomous agents to be able to read and interact with Empire Builder so they can create their own empires and distribute through Empire Builder as well. So that's the next evolution of human society, I guess. Yeah, so that's it. But yeah, Diviflyy on Farcaster, main place where I'll be. You can send me a DM as well. I'll try and get to them as well. Yeah,
Awesome.
I feel like there's a lot of spam going on Farcaster at the moment. I get so many spam messages, so I'll try and filter through them and get to the
as we're getting more and more to this, like you're saying with this, the AI agent meta, even more, getting more to that dead internet theory, finding ways to add social leverage and capital by, turning your token into an empire, and being able to actually understand the different people that are there, and hopefully be able to, put not bots in your leaderboard and be able to kind of see that growth.
Yeah, exactly. We've also got the reputation booster. I think Quotient and Ethos do a really good job at trying to actually rank and make sure people are real people and the value that they actually bring. Even if, sometimes there are bots, like Clanker, for example, has a high reputation score, but that's for a reason, right? Because it's well known and well made. It's not just a spam bot. So,
yeah, no, 1,000,000%. So I think there's a lot of awesome things coming for Empire Builder. I'm really excited. There's like 3 or 4 specific things that I think will be huge for what we're doing and what we're trying to do on those things. So I'm actually really excited. I think there's a lot of big things coming for 2026 as a whole. Builders keep building. Everyone's kind of up in, like, maybe it's a good thing you only post once a week because everyone's kind of up in arms about everything, right? All the time, as it is. But when the market is low, even more. So I always like to say, when the market's low, like, lock in on building. Like, that's the best thing you can do. And build up that social capital, build up that leverage, so that if it's not in that time, you can use more of that. So I'm excited for what we're doing over on Farcaster Empire Builder. Thanks for coming on, Adrian. Appreciate it. It was a blessing, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thanks, mate. You too. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Cheers.
Thanks, mate.